Opposition leader Raila Odinga is currently at the home of businessman Jimi Wanjigi in Muthaiga, Nairobi. Raila arrived at the residence of the businessman at 3 p.m. He was received by a team of lawyers before being ushered into the house. The visit by Raila comes a day after a multi-agency security team broke into the home on Thursday afternoon as they sought to arrest him. The team had camped outside the home, number 44, seeking to get into the compound for hours before they finally broke in. They then embarked on a search in the house while looking for Wanjigi and what they termed as more evidence. Police later told journalists that they recovered tear gas canisters from his alleged car that was found parked at the entrance to his Muthaiga home in Nairobi. Wanjigi is said to be holed in a room inside the building.
The images that you're seeing that he's here to meet with the family.
Polisi wameingia kwa hii nyumba na ikawa imetangazwa na runinga. Wameingia na kuvunja mlango. Tumeamkia hiyo habari. Sasa asubuhi ya leo tukaambatana na Secretary General wangu ambaye ako hapa Asha, Deputy wangu Kabala, na tulikuwa na Eugene Wamalo lakini ashaondoka. Tukaja kuona ni nini inaendelea kwa mwenzetu Bwana Jimi Wanjigi. Na tulijua tayari wakili Willis Otieno ako hapa. Na tumekuta hii mlango imevunjwa na walifanya msako mara ya kwanza, ndivyo tumeambiwa, na wakaja usiku wa manane msako wa pili. Sitaki kuendelea kushinda hapo sababu familia iko na ndio wako na ujumbe kikamilifu juu ya hiyo msako. Lakini niseme ni kinyume cha sheria. Wangeenda kotini wapate warrant na wangekuja kwa taratibu za kisheria. Nikiingia hapa, maafisa wale walikuwa kwa hili boma walikuwa zaidi ya 50. Tulipoingia wakaanza kutoka moja kwa moja. Sasa ni wachache wako kwa nyumba, lakini hata hungeweza kupita kila mahali, ilijaa polisi, askari polisi.
Well, in brief, they came around 7 p.m., forced their way in, broke the door. Personally, I was beaten up by 5 officers, which were masked. Once they entered, they assaulted my sister and my mother. They asked them to lie down on the floor and kicked them in the heads. Then from there, we had no choice to cooperate. So we did a thorough search till about 4 a.m. And us as a family, we thought it was over. But then at about 6 a.m., masked individuals came, dragged us from bed, saying they want to search even more. So now, let's say the current state of how we are now is the power is cut, Wi-Fi signal is all down, and we don't know why they wanted to do 2 different searches. Yeah, but maybe a lawyer can answer that. Yeah.
Thank you very much. One thing that I must point out is that yesterday when the police illegally entered the house and forced the family to agree to a search, which they didn't agree to, but a search was conducted, the lawyers and members of the family participated. And we went room by room, floor by floor, everywhere. And we inventorized all the items that they thought could form part of what they were calling as evidence. And all they took were iPhones belonging to the family members, iPads belonging to the family members, walkie-talkies for house communications, and a receipt for buying fuel at a Total Energy station. That is what was inventorized, and we all, after a long night of search, wrote that down and signed. And everybody left. Then surprisingly at 6 a.m. in the morning, my clients were woken up by marauding men jumping in their rooms, wearing balaclavas and carrying assault rifles, forcing them out of their rooms and pointing guns at them, tearing things up and down within the house, and purporting that they're conducting a search. How can the same police that we had done a whole night search with appear at 6 a.m. in the morning to purport to conduct a fresh search without our participation, without our involvement? Then the process, they've also carted away. In fact, they've stolen items, valuables belonging to members of this family. Because they were doing this in the cover of darkness. They made sure that when they were doing this, they disconnected electricity supply into the house. The house has been in darkness. There is no even access of internet in the house. They interfered with the system. And they carried valuables, watches, jewelry, money. They also did an illegal search on some of the cars, including my own car. They can't even respect the lawyer's car. And carried out some of my files and money from that car. And it is quite unfortunate that what I believe happened in the second team, I call it the second team that came here, was nothing about a police operation. This was an armed robbery that was being committed against the family of Mr. Jimi Wanjigi for his political beliefs and stands. Because if it was a police operation, nothing could have stopped them from following the process that the earlier team that was here had done. If anything, they've now they're claiming that they discovered some smoke grenades, walkie-talkies, some jungle uniform. They are the ones who discovered them. They are the ones who came with them. In fact, one of the people in the home was there. They actually saw one officer walking through the back carrying a blue Uhuru bag that had 3 items that looked like mangoes. Those are the smoke grenades. They came here to plant those things. That is why they never wanted, number one, electricity. They disconnected. They never wanted the lawyers. They never wanted the family members to accompany them in doing that act which they're doing. But to cover their theft, the act of robbery, what I resist, what happened in this home early in the morning at 6 a.m. was not a police operation, was an act of robbery. The house of Jimi Wanjigi was being robbed. And now to divert attention from the act of robbery, they claim that they've discovered certain items in this compound. Why didn't they follow the due process of the law when they are doing that? So it is quite unfortunate, and we are going to seek legal redress. But what I must assure all Kenyans, we have a right under Article 37 of the Constitution to demonstrate. You may not like the message, but you must accept and respect that right. The people of Kenya have said no to William Ruto. No amount of intimidation that it does to Jimi Wanjigi will stop us. Okay. We will still continue to say, and Jimi has his political rights, he will still continue to say that does not agree with William Ruto's policies. He can keep sending these policemen. We'll keep going to the streets to speak our minds. And Jimi Wanjigi is in safe custody with God the Father. And if the acting IG desires to summon Mr. Wanjigi to any police station or to any particular police officer, nothing stops him from signing a summons and bringing it here. We all know what the criminal procedure provides. There is no special individual that is exempted from that criminal procedure, the criminal process. Issue summons to Mr. Wanjigi. His residence is known, his location is known. You bring it here and tell him which officer to see. As it is, we've just seen it in the press. I'm even his lawyer. I'm not even aware that there's any official communication from the police for him to appear, and to appear before who? Because it shows you the witch hunt that this regime has against Mr. Wanjigi. Because normally, you must not, if there's an alleged offense, there must be an investigating officer. That officer must have a name, must have a rank, must have a number. So when you are telling someone to report to that officer, you issue summons. You tell him you are summoned to report to this particular officer. And the person will present himself before that officer. But to call a press conference and issue summons to Mr. Wanjigi through the press, since when did Mr. Wanjigi become exempt from the criminal procedure process that everybody knows should be applied in Kenya? That is why I say this has nothing to do with criminal justice. This is purely political witch hunt against Mr. Wanjigi.
My name is Wambui. I'm the very proud daughter of Jimi Wanjigi. I want to say that one thing that keeps us going is our father. We protect him and we love him. The police came to humiliate us and to degrade us. But one thing that we can take out of today is I've never felt prouder to be his daughter. And I've never felt prouder to be a Wanjigi.